Now we know what is transhumanism and what is posthuman technologies. That means how both the posthumanists and the transhumanists look at technology. Now let us focus exclusively on what is posthumanism. So, in this part of the article, she talks about posthumanism, which is a way of thinking that started in the 1990s. And she says it began with feminists and then spread to other areas like cultural studies and philosophy. And posthumanism is different from humanism. Humanism, as you know, that concept of humanism, which was at its peak during Renaissance. That's why we call it Renaissance humanism. That was a celebration of humanity. Okay, man was the center, the paragon of animals, as Shakespeare quoted. So, both these concepts are very different. Posthumanism is different from humanism. Posthumanism says we should think beyond just humans and consider other beings too. That is posthumanism. They say we should not think only about humans, we should consider other beings too. We should go beyond that that giving prime importance to humans. We should consider other beings too. That's what posthumanism says. It's like saying everyone and everything is important, not just people. Okay, not just humans, not just animals, but plants, other living beings, the whole ecosystem, the whole environment, the whole universe is important. Posthumanism wants to break away from thinking that humans are the most important and considers all living things equally. It does not like to see things as either or, but it tries to understand them in a more open way. So that's a beautiful concept, right? Posthumanism is a very beautiful concept. So, looking a bit more detail, in this part, she begins by stating the roots of posthumanism. Posthumanism, according to Ferranda, she states it started with early postmodernism, but gained momentum in the 1990s. Okay, and she says feminist thinkers in the 1990s played a significant role in developing posthumanism within the areas like literary criticism. It was known as critical posthumanism. So, feminist thinkers contributed to this popularity of posthumanism. And later, posthumanism also spread to cultural studies. And there it was known as cultural posthumanism. In literary criticism, it is known as critical posthumanism. But in cultural studies, it is known as cultural posthumanism. So, all this happens during the 1990s. And again, you see that it was also evolving into a philosophical inquiry. That means it spread to the field of philosophy also, to the domain of philosophy also. And there it came to be known as philosophical posthumanism. After talking about the origins, she defines posthumanism. She says posthumanism is characterized as both posthumanism and post-anthropocentrism. And here the post means it moves beyond traditional notions of what it means to be human. Okay, it moves beyond that age-old concept of humanism and anthropocentrism. Humanism and anthropocentrism means centering of the human, interpreting the whole world in terms of human values and experiences. That is what these concepts. So, post-humanism and post-anthropocentrism means moving beyond those traditional notions. And so, posthumanism challenges those hierarchical social structures that prioritized humans over other beings. Okay, and it questions assumptions that humans are the most important superior beings in the universe. So all these assumptions and structures which considered or which gave prime importance to humans, all these notions are challenged by posthumanists. Next, she says posthumanism incorporates a critique of speciesism, which is the belief in human superiority over other species. So, speciesism refers to the belief that one species, typically humans, is superior to others and can use them for their own benefit without considering the well being or rights of others. It's like what you call favoritism. One species is considered the best, or someone might believe that humans are more important than animals, and we can treat animals however we want just because they are a different species. Okay, so this idea is criticized by post-humanists. They consider they are challenging this idea of human superiority, and they include other species and even machines as important. Okay. Uh, so it's like they believe everyone and everything should be treated fairly without anyone being more special than others. So posthumanism does not like dividing things into strict categories like good or bad. It wants us to see things in a more open-minded way without sticking to old ideas. So that's why posthumanism is also called post-exclusivism. That means post-exclusivism means it promotes inclusiveness. It is beyond excluding. It is inclusive. It promotes inclusivity, and it aims to reconcile different aspects of existence without privileging one over the other. Okay. Or we have this binary opposition, right, like good and bad, man and woman, black and white, etc. So posthumanism rejects such binary oppositions. That's what it says. It rejects frontal dualism. Frontal dualism means this such binary oppositions, and it challenges such binary oppositions, and it uses deconstruction, which dismantles rigid categories and boundaries. Another feature of posthumanism is that it is also post exceptionalism. What is that? Post exceptionalism. That means it doesn't claim to be very special or exceptional. It's not trying to prove that it's only an important idea. Okay, it's beyond that. It encompasses or it incorporates other ideas too. Okay, that's why it's called post exceptionalism. Then it accepts and integrates the idea that the concept of newness is fading away. The concept of newness is fading away. That's what she means by the dissolution of the new. And this idea was actually identified by the philosopher named Gianni Vattimo. Uh, and in his work, The End of Modernity, he discussed the concept of nihilism. Nihilism is a belief in nothing. And hermeneutics. Hermeneutics means the interpretation of texts. So, particularly in the context of postmodern culture. It means instead of focusing on brand new ideas, posthumanism is okay with existing ideas and building upon them. Okay, that is the concept which she gives reference to Gianni Vattimo. And in his book, he talked about how in the postmodern era, people are starting to believe less in big overarching ideas. Okay, instead they focus more on interpreting texts and ideas in different ways, which is called hermeneutics. Already existing stories, but interpreted in different ways. Okay, you have this classics like Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc. All these are already there. The stories are already there. The characters are already there, but different interpretations of that same text are possible. Okay, it's not an entirely new concept, but existing ideas are there, but it's interpreted in new ways. So the focus is on interpreting texts and ideas in different ways. Okay, we also discuss nihilism, which is the idea that life has no inherent meaning or value. So Vattimo explored these ideas in the context of postmodern culture. So this is applied by Ferranda in posthumanism as well. And that is why she says in posthumanism also you have a very similar nature, which wherein posthumanists doesn't go after very new things, but they build on existing ones. They interpret and give new meanings. They find things differently from existing ones. Okay. Next, she talks about the relativity of newness. That's a very interesting concept. She says something is new, or saying something new depends on where you are and what you know. Okay, that means what's new in one place might be old news somewhere else. Okay, also as societies change, they might forget things, make rediscovered knowledge seem new again. Okay, she cites a psychoanalyst named Immanuel Velikovsky, who said that humans are unique because we keep forgetting where we came from. This means things we already knew might seem new when we remember them. Similarly, there can also be cross-cultural perspectives. For example, the physicist Fritjof Capra wrote about how Western science and Eastern spiritual ideas sometimes have many similarities. For example, he compared modern physics with Eastern mysticism in his book named The Tower of Physics. And this shows that what seems new in one culture might be known in another. You have this transcendentalism by Emerson, and you have this concept of Jivatmava, Paramatmava in Vedanta philosophy, right? In Hindu philosophy. So all these have similarities, but it comes from different cultures. So what is new in one culture might be old in another culture, and vice versa. So that's what she means by the relativity of newness. Next feature of posthumanism is that it challenges hegemonic perspectives and deconstructs Western thinking or Western discourses. It's like posthumanism challenges dominant viewpoints that ignore the diverse perspectives within different cultural and historical contexts. This is where it intersects with culture studies. It criticizes, like culture studies, that one viewpoint uh, does not represent the entire truth. Okay, it criticizes, not criticizes, it states that one viewpoint is not the entire truth. It criticizes that universal outlook. Okay. Uh, and posthumanism also looks at how Western ways of thinking, which were once seen as the most important, have been challenged by groups like feminists, people fighting racism, LGBTQ activists, and those who critique colonialism. Then it also has a post-centralizing perspective. Post-centralizing perspective means instead of focusing on a single center of interest. Uh, that means there is nothing like that single most important thing. Nothing like that in posthumanism. Posthumanism recognizes multiple centers of interest. Okay, it rejects the idea of a singular central authority and acknowledges the importance of diverse viewpoints. So all this is what it shares with culture studies, which also doesn't believe in one big central idea that is always right. So posthumanism thinks that what's important can change, and different people and cultures see things in different ways. It says we should listen to lots of different viewpoints and be open to change. So we can say that it advocates for a very pluralistic, multi-layered perspective that encompasses a wide range of viewpoints and experiences. So that is why posthumanism is post-centralizing and pluralistic. And so finally, she says that posthumanism, as a way of thinking about the future, where humans merge with technology as well as other living beings, is becoming popular. This is a very popular philosophy that is gaining attention. But with this popularity comes new problems, new challenges as well. Okay, because some people are interested in cool and futuristic things like robots, genetic experiments, and aliens. However, they might forget about important issues that affect humans right now. So within the human community itself, it's not that future or that technology that is the great concern, that is the major concern. We have many problems affecting us at the present, which has to be addressed. Some of them being women's rights, racism, LGBTQ, uh, etc. She cites the example of bell hooks, who wrote that it's important to focus on human issues instead of just thinking about robots or aliens. Okay. So the situation demands that we look at what is happening around us right now. So to sum up, posthumanism doesn't believe in any sort of hierarchy. It doesn't believe in ranking things as more or less important. Both human and non human differences are considered equally significant. Similarly, it's a way of thinking that encourages us to see connections between different things and to think in more inclusive ways. Okay, and instead of just focusing on humans, posthumanism looks at the whole picture, at the big picture, including non-humans, things, animals, robots, nature, etc. So by considering all these perspectives, posthumanism helps us imagine a future where the boundaries of what it means to be human are stretched. Okay, so this is what is meant by posthumanism. Next, we move on to the fifth part of this essay, new materialisms. New materialisms is a part of post humanist theory that focuses on the importance of material things. Okay? On material things, the material things that we have around us, that we use. It's different, this theory or this concept called new materialism is different from Marxism, but it shares some important ideas about the importance of material things in shaping our world. See, for instance, instead of just seeing matter as stuff, new materialism looks at it as a process of becoming something. That means new materialism emphasizes that dynamic nature of matter. That means it's always changing and evolving. Matter isn't just sitting there, it's actively involved in the process of transformation and becoming. For example, uh, let's look at at a rock. So, a rock is not just an inert object. It interacts with water and weather over time and gradually changes its shape and texture. Okay, it is in the process of transformation. It is also matter. Fine. Similarly, in biology, we know how living organisms grow and develop. So, instead of, for example, seeing a tree as a static object, it would explore that dynamic process of photosynthesis, cell division, nutrient absorption, etc., and how it grows. Fine. Similarly, if you take a piece of iron, it rusts over time. The rusting of iron involves a series of chemical reactions that gradually change the iron into a new substance. It becomes iron oxide. Right? And then coming to sociology or social sciences, we might explore how social structures and institutions have continually shaped and reshaped human interactions and cultural practices. So, that is what new materialism talks about, how these materials uh, change and transform human lives. Okay, and she says that all these new thoughts or this concept of new materialism, it evolved during the late 90s or the 2000. Okay, and it was heavily influenced by feminism. Right? It's influenced by feminism, especially ideas about the body and how it is important in understanding the world. Similarly, this new materialism was inspired not only by feminism but also by late postmodernism. Because in postmodernism, also we focus on how we construct reality through language and representation. So, what we see in the films, for example, or what we read in the books or magazines, all this influences, right? All this construct a sort of reality around us. But at the same time, we should not forget that we also have this physical reality around us, right? So, there is a divide between the reality that we represent and the reality that is already there. Okay, so this concept of postmodernism was, or new materialism was inspired by this concept of postmodernism. So it's like you have different versions of reality. Then she cites Karen Barad, a main thinker of new materialism, and says that language, discourse, and culture, all these things are important. Okay, but along with that, the material aspects are also important. Fine, the material conditions that we live in, the material things that we possess, all these things are now part of our existence. Fine. So, in new materialism, we see that it connects language, culture, and matter without dividing them. Fine. All this is connected. Matter is also an ongoing process. It is also subject to change. So that is what she talks about, new materialism. And next, moving on to the last part, she introduces several new strands of posthumanism, like antihumanism, metahumanism, metahumanities, and posthumanities. So, in transhumanism, we have seen that it focuses on modern ideas like rationality, progress, and free will. It believes in enhancing human capabilities through technology, right? So, anti-humanism, it criticizes all these ideas which the transhumanists talk about. And anti-humanism, it questions the traditional idea of what it means to be human. Okay, it questions, it challenges the traditional idea. It's there in the name itself, anti-human. So it challenges what it means to be human. And anti-humanism acknowledges the idea of the death of man, meaning a shift in how we understood humanity. That means that superiority that is always attributed to man, that's gone. The death of man, that's what the anti-humanists acknowledge. They doesn't believe uh, in that symbolic death, but what they intend is that deconstructive approach of Derrida, that superiority that is attributed to man, that is deconstructed. That is what anti-humanism means. Next concept is metahumanism. Metahumanism is a new way of thinking, and it is influenced by the ideas of philosopher Gilles Deleuze. It focuses on the body, okay, the body and how it can change and take on new meanings. So instead of seeing the body as just a physical thing, metahumanism looks at it as a dynamic network that interacts with its surroundings. It's like saying the body isn't just a thing. It's a process that's always changing and connecting with other things around it. A child, as it grows, the body also grows. The meaning attributed to that body, to that child, to that being also changes. Okay, so that is what metahumanism focuses on. And next, the concept of metahumanities. Metahumanities originally came from comics and games, where it referred to characters like superheroes and mutants. In cultural studies, metahumanities is about studying these fictional characters and stories. Okay, and the main difference from metahumanism is that metahumanities focuses on studying fictional characters and narratives, while metahumanism is more about philosophical ideas concerning the body and its relations. And finally, post-humanities. It focuses on moving away from traditional humanities, and it tries to explore the post-human condition, including studying future generations related to humans. And the main difference from post-humanism is that post-humanities specifically focuses on academic exploration and shifting the study of the human condition to encompass the post-human, whereas post-humanism is a broader philosophical movement that includes various perspectives and approaches beyond academic study, because as we discussed, it encompasses everything, right? Everything, nature, animals, plants, human, everything in equal share. That is post-humanism. Okay, so these are the major concepts discussed by Ferranda in this article. And finally, in the conclusion part, uh, she discusses how the post-human discourse is an ongoing discussion about redefining the human condition. And the key movements are discussed like posthumanism, transhumanism, new materialisms, anti-humanism, metahumanism, metahumanity, and posthumanities. And by transhumanism, we focuses on using technology to enhance humanity but maintains a human-centric perspective. On the other hand, posthumanism embraces a post-anthropocentric view, and it challenges human centrality and explores technologies of existence. And posthumanism investigates the impact of human activity on the planet, and that is the how it is related to Anthropocene, and it emphasizes the need to decenter human focus. The human centrality should be changed. Everything should be given equal importance. And humans, according to post-humanists, should be seen as part of a system, part of a larger ecosystem, not as the monopoly, not as the autonomous agents, and their actions should not affect the entire system. Fine. And finally, humans, according to post-humanists, should be understood as nodes within a network of existence shaped by their actions, behaviors, and relationships. So, altogether, posthumanism maintains a critical and deconstructive stance while aiming to nurture alternatives for the present and future. So, the posthumanists seek to achieve harmony in the evolving interconnectedness or interconnected existence. So, that is all this theory is all about. Thank you.